Welcome to Chasing Curiosity. TV, subscribe and press the bell icon for more updates. The tropical sun beat down relentlessly, casting its golden glare across the turquoise waters of the South China Sea, a region both breathtaking and fraught with tension. But beneath the shimmering surface, the scene was far from peaceful. A small, rusty Philippine supply boat pressed forward, embarking on a critical mission to the BRP Sierra Madre, a beached World War II-era ship that serves as a lonely outpost at Second Thomas Shoal. Suddenly, Chinese Coast Guard vessels, massive and menacing, converged on the much smaller ship, their horns blaring in a show of force. The air grew thick with tension, every second stretching out as the confrontation escalated. This was a calculated act of intimidation, a dangerous dance on the high seas where every maneuver could spark a crisis. The Chinese ships maneuvered aggressively, cutting across the bow and trying to block the Philippine vessel from reaching its destination, their intentions unmistakable. The Filipino crew, outnumbered and outgunned, held their course with quiet determination, refusing to be bullied. Their mission was vital, not just for delivering supplies, but as a powerful statement. The Philippines would not abandon its post or surrender its rights no matter the pressure. Every inch gained was a hard-won victory against a giant neighbor, a testament to their resilience and resolve. Then came the water cannons, powerful jets of water slamming into the Philippine boat, rocking it violently and drenching the deck. The crew scrambled for cover as the Chinese escalated from blocking to outright attacking, chaos erupting on the deck. On board, journalists and military personnel filmed everything, turning their cameras into weapons to expose the aggression to the world. This footage would soon be broadcast globally, revealing the David and Goliath struggle unfolding in this remote corner of the ocean and drawing international attention. This encounter, just one of many in recent years, encapsulates the escalating crisis in the South China Sea, a flashpoint with global implications. It's a story of a nation standing up for its rights and sovereignty against overwhelming odds, refusing to back down. The Philippines, under assertive leadership, has drawn a line in the water, signaling its determination to defend its territory. For Manila, the alternative is unthinkable: to watch its territory, its future, be swallowed up by encroaching forces. The confrontation at Second Thomas Shoal is more than a standoff. It is the front line of a defining geopolitical struggle, one that will shape the fate of the region for years to come. The South China Sea is one of the world's most important maritime crossroads, connecting major economies across Asia, the Middle East, and beyond. Every day, hundreds of ships navigate these waters, carrying goods that fuel the global economy. 1/3 of global shipping, worth trillions of dollars, passes through these lanes every year. From oil and gas to electronics and food, the flow of trade here touches nearly every country on Earth. Disruption here would send shockwaves through the global economy, causing shortages, price spikes, and financial instability worldwide. For the Philippines, the stakes are even higher, as the sea is a lifeline for millions of its people. China's 9-dash line cuts deep into the Philippines' exclusive economic zone, threatening not only fishing grounds but also untapped oil and gas reserves that could power the nation's future. Millions of Filipinos depend on these waters for food, jobs, and the survival of entire coastal communities. China's claim is rooted in history and nationalism, but it is not recognized by international law or by the United Nations Tribunal. Beijing has built artificial islands, turning once pristine reefs into militarized fortresses equipped with runways, radar, and missiles. This allows China to project power, dominate its neighbors, and directly challenge the U.S. presence in the region, raising the risk of confrontation. The South China Sea has become a global flashpoint, a contest over the future of Asia, and a test of international order. Will the region be governed by international law, or by the might of a single power imposing its will on others? The answer is being forged in tense encounters at sea and in diplomatic halls worldwide, shaping the destiny of the region for generations to come. Facing China's might, the Philippines has radically changed its strategy. The previous policy of quiet diplomacy failed. China's aggression only grew. Under President Marcos Jr., Manila now relies on 3 pillars: international law, revitalized alliances, and radical transparency. The first pillar is a firm reliance on international law, especially the 2016 Hague ruling. The second is strengthening alliances, especially with the US, but also building a web of support with other nations. The message out: the Philippines is not alone. The third pillar is radical transparency, publicizing China's aggressive actions in near real time. Journalists are embedded on patrols, and confrontations are broadcast globally. This strategy exposes Beijing's behavior and turns global opinion. The new playbook is proactive, confident, and leverages democracy's strengths. By combining law, alliances, and public opinion, Manila punches above its weight. Other nations are watching closely. In 2013, the Philippines made a bold move, taking China to court under the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS. This was a historic step, as few dared to challenge a major power through international law. China refused to participate in the proceedings, dismissing the tribunal's authority, but the judges at The Hague pressed on, determined to hear the case and deliver a verdict. In 2016, after years of deliberation, the court issued a landmark ruling. China's sweeping 9-dash line had no legal basis under international law. The decision not only invalidated Beijing's core claim, but also affirmed the Philippines' sovereign rights to its exclusive economic zone and resources in the South China Sea. Despite this clear ruling, China flatly rejected it and continued its activities in the disputed waters, ignoring international pressure. For years, the legal victory was largely shelved by the previous Philippine administration, which chose not to press the issue on the world stage. During this time, China consolidated its gains, rapidly building military outposts, expanding artificial islands, and harassing Filipino vessels at sea. Now, under new leadership, the current government has made the tribunal ruling central to its foreign policy, vowing to defend the country's rights. The ruling is no longer just a legal document, it has become a powerful diplomatic and moral weapon, wielded in international discussions. President Marcos Jr. and his diplomats now raise the ruling at every international forum, rallying support and reminding the world of the legal verdict. The Philippines frames its actions as lawful defense of its territory and rights, not as acts of aggression, emphasizing its commitment to peace. This approach transforms the dispute into a clear case of upholding a rules-based international order, where law prevails over might. The world is reminded that all nations, big or small, are bound by the same laws, and that justice, once won, can inspire a global movement. The Philippines knows it can't stand up to China alone. At the heart of its strategy is the Mutual Defense Treaty with the United States, now explicitly covering the South China Sea. This security guarantee deters Chinese escalation. The Philippines is also strengthening ties with Japan and Australia, gaining patrol vessels, surveillance tech, and joint exercises. European powers like the UK, France, and Germany have joined in, sending ships and voicing support for international law. Within ASEAN, Manila urges a unified stand against violations of the law. This integrated deterrence weaves together diplomatic, economic, and security partnerships. When China harasses a Philippine boat, it now faces a coalition, not just one nation. This collective approach makes isolation harder and signals global investment in the rules-based order. The message, aggression will not go unchallenged. The Philippines' most groundbreaking strategy is assertive transparency. For years, China's gray zone operations thrived in the shadows. Now, the Philippines documents and publicizes every incident, using undeniable visual evidence. Journalists are embedded on patrols, capturing confrontations as they happen. High-resolution videos and photos are released within hours, preventing China from controlling the narrative. This transparency galvanizes domestic support, making the struggle personal for Filipinos. It also builds international backing, providing allies with diplomatic ammunition. China, used to operating with impunity, is forced to react to global scrutiny. The Philippines has weaponized the truth, using a free press to counter authoritarian tactics. It's a powerful example of asymmetric statecraft. Cameras and courage are now frontline tools in defending sovereignty. The world is watching, and so is Beijing. Rising tensions at sea have forced the Philippines to rethink its economic ties with China. Hopes that Chinese investment would bring prosperity have faded. Promised projects often failed to materialize. The government now pursues de-risking and diversification, not cutting off China, but reducing dependence. Manila is strengthening trade and investment with the US, Japan, South Korea, Australia, and Europe. The Philippines is positioning itself as a hub for companies seeking alternatives to China. New trade agreements and infrastructure upgrades are attracting sustainable investments. Stronger economic ties with democratic partners reinforce security alliances. Economic security is now seen as vital to national security and freedom of action. Confronting China requires more than legal arguments. It demands credible defense. The Philippines is modernizing its armed forces, shifting focus from internal threats to territorial defense. The Navy is acquiring new ships, the Air Force is investing in jets, radars, and drones. The Coast Guard is being upgraded for frontline encounters. The goal isn't to match China ship for ship, but to build a credible deterrent, a porcupine defense. Allies like the US, Japan, and Australia provide funding, training, and equipment. Joint exercises enhance interoperability and readiness. A stronger military helps defend sovereignty and regional stability. The Philippines is signaling its commitment to defend its territory with real capability. Words are now backed by a modern shield. The South China Sea dispute is a test for the world's rules-based order. This system, built after World War II, ensures all nations' rights are respected. China's actions challenge this principle, threatening a return to might makes right. Smaller nations everywhere would be more vulnerable if rules are ignored. The Philippines' stand defends not just its territory but the system that protects all nations. The economic stakes are immense. Global trade depends on freedom of the seas. If one country controls these lanes, the global economy is at risk. The Philippines' stance is a defining moment for the 21st century. The world is watching, and its response will reveal our true commitment to shared principles. The line drawn in the South China Sea affects us all.